When did you find out that Tanya might be coming home soon?
Shortly after the Tennessee Supreme Court upheld the Criminal Court of Appeals overturned conviction of Tanya. And shortly after that, I got a call from her attorney telling me that there's a possibility that they could come to some sort of a plea bargain. I had no idea what that would be at the time, and I didn't really know until this Friday.
What did you learn Friday?
Well, Friday I learned that she was going to plead to the charges of first-degree murder under the Alfred, I forget what they call it.
It's an Alfred plea.
It's an Alfred plea, yeah, which basically says that she's innocent of the crime that happened, but she's pleading guilty in her best interest.
And now?
Well, I'm looking forward to, from what I understand, the possibility of her coming home next week. I don't know when that might be. And us rejoining our lives together, which we've been apart now for almost a decade after being married 11 years. And it's been a tough experience, and it's something that I would not want any couple to have to go through. But when you have two people that are in love, and they're married for better or for worse, you just get the worst out of the road first, I guess. And that's what we've done, and we've managed to keep our relationship as solid as it was the day we met.
You knew nothing of her past?
No, not a thing.
Until the FBI arrested her?
That is correct.
And you stayed with her since then?
Well, I knew she was a good person, and I knew she couldn't have committed the crime that they say she did, because I knew her much better than anybody else, and she was on board my truck and became a partner in my life, as well as my business as an owner-operator. And the things that she did to keep me from losing my truck when I became injured and really couldn't have driven it by myself, any other kind of person would not have done that unless they were a good person.
She stuck by you.
She stuck by me.
But you stuck by her through terrible circumstances. You visited her in prison regularly.
I've been doing that all this time. In fact, I wore out 3 cars doing that. And when I first started going down there, it was every 2 weeks. But I found that after the price of gas went up, that was not feasible to do. But since then, I've been going down once a month, every month, all this time, to make sure that we have a relationship that's strong and that I support her and let her know I'm standing by her.
How have you managed to stay strong?
Through friends, which is limited, and through our church, Bexley United Methodist Church, which has been very supportive of us.
You had very little chance back then of getting a lawyer to take this old case where there was guilt and escape. You got somebody to help you. The
good Lord did that for us, because I was not knowledgeable of attorneys, and through an interview that we had done with I had done with Greta Van Sesteren and her attorney for a short time here in Columbus, Ohio, led us to this law firm in Knoxville, Tennessee, and they took the case on. And it was through God's grace that they did take that case, and all this time has fought for her. Even though the founder of that law firm died 3 years into the case, his protege, who's now our partner, continued to fight to reach the outcome that we have today.
Did you ever give up?
No, I never gave up. I never even thought about it. I just knew a person that's good, as my wife was, shouldn't and couldn't stay in a prison that she should not have been in the first place. And so through her faith, which strengthened my faith, and our church, which helped us both keep that faith alive, that somehow we would bring her home.
How have you communicated all these years?
Through letters. And occasionally phone calls, but the letters were better because the phone calls are very expensive. And I've never been a letter writer, but I've written long letters, and during that time I've tried to keep it light for her. I would always tell her what was happening in my life, and then give her some inspiration to things that I found on the internet, as well as funny jokes. And that way it would try to keep a smile on her face under extreme circumstances.
Tell me about her extreme circumstances.
Well, life in a prison is not like you see it on television. You know, every time I would go down to visit her, she would be strip searched after our visit to make sure that I hadn't given her any kind of contraband. I was searched every time that I went in. I had one instance where I slipped up, and I had a little pocket tool that I kept with me at work, and I drove 6 hours down there and forgot that was in my watch pocket. And when they searched me, I was not allowed to see my wife, and there's a possibility that I may never get to see her again. But because Frank, her minister, stepped up, and the fact that I had a good record in visiting her, they kept the pocket tool and allowed me then to come back and visit her from then on, with the understanding that if it ever happened again, I couldn't visit my wife.
Tell me about your love.
It's strong. You know, I fell in love with my wife before I realized what was happening. And I knew she was the woman that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Not knowing how I was going to do that. But you know, married for better or worse. You know, we just got the worst out of the road first. And now we can put our lives back together as a couple, and hopefully during this time we can be a light of inspiration for maybe other couples who are going through tough times. Because I can't imagine anything being tougher than being married 18 months and then being separated for the duration of an 11-year marriage.
Did you keep each other close in your hearts through holidays, Christmas, birthdays?
Oh yeah. You know, we always kept sending each other cards, and I would sometimes make up new cards through the program I have on my computer and keep things light. I've never forgot her birthdays or anniversaries until this year, when things started getting really tense as to what was going to happen in getting her home. But not only did I forget her birthday, I forgot my daughters, I forgot the grandkids, you know, because everything was piling up on top of me, and I was just focused more on trying to see what I can do to support my wife.
You always knew she would be freed.
In my heart, I did, yes. I couldn't imagine that God would let a good person such as her stay in a place that she didn't deserve to be in.
Have you spoken to her since the plea on Friday?
No, I've not. I've not been allowed to see her. And that's only because of what's going on down there and where she's at. The visitation down there isn't the same as it was in the prison.